Welcome back to the Umuco podcast on YouTube with Alex and Dydine. We're back with yet another video.
Hola, hola, hola.
Hola. Still on your Spanish tip, I see. Very good. Excellent. Real quick, I got some comments on the last video about my chest being out, and I'm going to keep it open. I think it's quite sexy, so I'm going to do it.
Oh yeah, you do you.
I'm gonna do me, y'all. This is me now. One of my friends, Justin, calls me Calix, like California Alex.
Oh,
this is like a persona I've taken upon.
I
I guess
it just wasn't that out.
it was more out
good.
than you.
I
like
you
it too.
usually button up like.
I'm like,
Oh man, no.
Welcome to the Umuco
let my
podcast.
chest out. I let my chest.
it's hot out here, y'all. Look, we gotta have some ventilation somehow. So anyway,
Yeah.
we're back with another video. What are we talking about today?
So today we're talking about code switch. It's a conversation Alex and I have had, and just talking about it, and I learned so much. What is a code switch?
Yeah, what is code
I did not
switching?
understand it before, but Alejandro.
So we got into a conversation the other day about how we sort of fit into the communities and the society that we are in, the environment. I happened to grow up in North Dallas, around
North Dallas.
Dallas. Yes, it was sort of a melting pot of cultures. I grew up, as we talked about in our Black Enough series. We talked about my, identity
This
things.
is a Black Enough series too. I think I like this.
I think I like it
Black
too.
Enough stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Right. And if it makes anybody uncomfortable, I am sorry you feel uncomfortable, but this is an important conversation that we're going to have. So you go sit here and listen, or you can go to another video.
I think having uncomfortable conversations, that's how we make a good change.
Yes.
So it's okay to be a little bit uncomfortable, because
Right.
it raises questions inside you, and then you can find answers.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
So what is code switch?
So to read from Webster's dictionary,
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure if it's Webster's, but one that I found here, the
Yes.
use of one dialect,
Yeah.
register, accent, or language variety over another, depending on social or cultural context, to project a specific identity.
Oh, that's like creating a persona.
Yeah.
Personas. So that you can fit in. Does that mean a demeanor changes and the accent changes, the tone in your voice changes as you're interacting with that community?
Yes.
That is
All of it.
perceived like the other, or perceive you
so
as
like
the other.
whatever the majority or the popular, in my experience, I mean, this is just one sector of code switching
Okay.
that I can speak to.
Yeah.
Everybody code switches, whether they don't
Yes,
think about
I will
it or
give you an
not.
example too.
So, I mean, I grew up in an environment where I felt the need to code switch. Like, I never grew up with what is presumed to be like a black accent. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
there's like certain
Yes.
things that people
Not
will grow to think.
articulate accent.
Yeah, but
That's-
people will based off of what they see on the media,
Yeah.
who they hear, like rappers or athletes, like there's a particular way that black people are supposed to speak, based
Yeah,
off
or
of
to
what
behave.
or to behave, right? And so if you don't
Yeah.
behave specifically like that, then you're perceived to be other or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And so I code switched to fit in with what I felt, what was projected to be acceptable.
Acceptable.
Yes.
Because you
So-
went to a white school, right?
I went to a majority, I want to say majority, but there's quite a bunch of white kids. And the white culture dominated the school.
Oh,
So
I
that's
see
kind of
you
what it
mean.
was.
Okay.
It wasn't so much that there's a bunch of white kids, there's that sort of, that's power play, that sort of, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're
If you
saying.
know, you know.
I hear you.
Right. So code switching inherently is not bad. It's really more of a way to
Survival technique.
maybe more of a survival tactic in learning how to adapt to your environment.
Yeah.
If someone who grows up in the middle of Arkansas
Yeah.
will probably adopt a particular accent, right? In this
Yes.
particular way of living. Someone
Yeah.
who grows up in Southern California
Yeah.
will completely act completely differently, right?
Oh my
It's-
God. It would be like in LA and
You
in,
might-
in,
you
in
might-
the valley.
Oh my God.
Right.
Yeah. Like
Yes.
me.
Well,
No. I'm kidding.
no. So I remember I remember there was a time in college,
Yeah.
my good buddy Justin, he told me a story about how he felt he needed to code switch to fit in. So he's a guy who likes to use a lot of bigger words. He's a
Yes.
very
Dictionary.
very smart guy, but he likes to also use big words, you know,
Yeah.
in his vernacular. That's just who he is.
Yes.
But in West Tex, not all West Texans, obviously, but in this particular section with about, I don't know, like 20-something-year-old kids in college,
Yeah.
he had to kind of edit himself, and he stopped using those big words to fit in because, like, they would start roasting it. They would start making fun of him if he would start, using these bigger words. Not that they didn't understand what he was saying, but it may have, for them, come off like,
I was like nerdy.
yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, he did feel like he had to edit himself.
Oh yeah, so code switching is when you're in an environment where you cannot be fully yourself. You don't feel like if you're fully yourself, you'll be accepted.
Yeah.
And then you just slowly start editing or learning how to edit yourself as you
integrate yourself into this
yeah.
little mini society here, this
Yes.
community.
Have you been in a situation where you had to code switch?
Almost every damn day.
That's horrible.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm getting a lot better, but as we spoke about before,
Yeah.
this was something that was kind of burned into my identity. I
Aw,
already
man.
had issues, facing what is black, what is not, who am I in relation to, the people that I'm surrounded with. I don't really feel like a lot of the other black kids who I'm around, but I'm definitely not feeling like a bunch of, a lot of the white kids that I'm surrounded with.
Yeah.
It's like a mixture of both, right? And it's
Yeah.
about culture.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely felt that way.
the way you behave, the way you act, the way you speak when you're home
Yeah.
with the people you're comfortable with, your family members, your friends,
Yeah.
it's different than the way you interact in. It was different the way you interacted in like professional settings or school settings, like other areas that you're not comfortable with. Could you feel the difference?
I could definitely feel the difference, but it was more of like, it wasn't like a language thing. It was more of like a demeanor thing. It was just really hard for me to just like, I'll be like this. I'd just be like a statue. Just be like, hello, nice to meet you. Not like that. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I felt far more stiff, and I felt like I had to.
Yes. I think it's hard.
Not come off a certain way.
Yeah.
And that's a me problem.
Yeah.
That's just
It's
something
not
that
a you problem. I think it's a society problem
feels like a
because
me problem.
if you have children, young people, young adults, not being comfortable for who they are and just having these standards that a perfect person or a smart person or someone, an important person should look like this, behave like this.
Yeah.
I think it's more not a individual problem as a young person.
Yeah.
It becomes an individual problem when you're an adult and
Right.
and you haven't grew out of it because you kind of as we grow older we start becoming ourselves.
Yeah.
We start
right.
understanding ourselves and appreciating who we are, like our authentic self.
I agree with
Yeah,
that.
but when
I
you're
agree.
young though, like I don't think
That's you just kind of do what you feel like you have to do. Like
you gotta
that's
do what
like
you gotta do.
What's safe. Yeah. Yeah.
We did have, I think in Rwanda we did have, I remember growing up in high school, we had not code switching. It was more, probably even code switching though in Rwanda, but more of like personas. We had people creating personas.
Like characters. Yeah.
And they live throughout their whole teen life in that character because they just don't want to face their true self.
It's exhausting.
I know, as you think about it now, it's very exhausting, but I think some kids, especially in my survivors community, some kids just couldn't deal with what they had just went through, and they will create a persona of like this like bougie Kardashian girl, or like we had a lot of Rihannas and and like we will even, and because they behave the way they carry themselves, it's a Rihanna.
Yeah.
And then or a Beyonce or whoever, and then an entire school will call them those names too, because you look at
this
them
is what you adopt
the way,
from like what you see and what
but then you wouldn't realize that now as an adult I look back, a lot of those kids had like a lot going on in their life, and they just couldn't deal with it. And they just create these imaginary. I feel like they just had imaginary friends, and they just become those friends to themselves. Yeah. And it was like a way to deal with the society and what they went with, and later on it helped them to not lose themselves in the way.
Right.
So I don't know. I think it helped them to not feel less, or to not feel. I mean, for example, if you're going to school where you don't have parents, you don't have cousins, you don't have everyone, and then your classmates have everyone, so you don't really know how to interact unless you become like them. So I guess that's what some kids did that. I don't know. I guess teenagers do weird things.
We all do weird things, yeah. But teenagers, they just do what they feel they have to do to survive those social constructs, those social situations.
Did you have people becoming like a Jay-Z or something like that?
I'll say, because I grew up in the era where like Lil Wayne was big.
Yeah.
Like Jay-Z was a little bit before my time. That was like early 2000s. I was just a child there.
Yeah.
But like when I was like a teenager,
you had a lot of Lil Wayne.
I was like Lil Wayne. You know
we had
like,
those too. Yeah.
Soulja Boy. I'm trying to think of other guys, other big influential rappers.
Yeah.
Or bigger people in the mainstream media of the black community outside of athletes.
Yeah.
So, so we had a lot of people kind of just adopting that culture.
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah.
And of course it's exaggerated when you're a kid. Everybody just kind of does the extreme because they feel like that's the best way to do it. But that messes with your sense of identity if you're not already secure in yourself.
It does.
You know?
It does.
And hence the code switching.
When you grow up and are accepting who you are, or feeling the need to code switch or have a persona, that time to finding yourself, to know who you are, it takes longer. It takes longer because you spend so much time learning this character, learning these new behaviors that aren't really yours, and then it takes a long time to unlearn
and
hard work to unlearn
those things.
Unlearn those things.
Yeah, that's a good point. When you become your characters, your social characters, okay, let me try to make this sound smart. If you are your characters that you create for long enough, then you will eventually forget who you are.
Yeah. As a person.
Yeah, I think a good parameter, a good gauge of who you are as a person, like at your core, is how you behave when you feel like nobody's around.
Nobody's watching.
When you are by yourself in your bedroom or wherever your place of privacy is, and that's who you are. That is who you are. Whatever you do there, that is who you are.
Trust me, that's the most beautiful person you can be. And that's the most easiest person you can be.
Yeah.
And when you allow yourself to be that person in every interaction, and you just keep learning yourself, work on yourself, your individual self, you get more appreciated.
I think so too.
Yeah, because you're unique. But
and it's effortless, and then people can see that effortlessness, and
it is a genuinity. Oh yeah, I sometimes come up with words. I don't know.
It's a word now.
Yes, to make it a word. Yeah, in it.
I agree. So I think that's the bigger lesson we're taking away from all this.
I think so.
Look, there's nothing inherently wrong with code switching unless it starts to impeach upon your own sense of identity.
Yes.
And if it has, then we urge you, be yourself.
Yeah, start slowly. Slowly. Change takes a long time and there's a lot of patience, but it's definitely so beautiful to be yourself.
And it's like once that filter where you just don't care, like how you are perceived. Let me just say, there's a guy, his name is Ryan Coogler. Many people know who he is. He's a director from Oakland, from the Bay Area. Yeah. He is someone who I admire in his I don't even think it's a question to code switch for him. He is himself. He speaks the same way around whoever he's around. Yeah. Studio executives, his friends from his childhood. I'm sure he speaks the exact same way. I don't know him personally, but I feel like that's something to admire there.
Yeah.
Some people don't even think about code switch. Some people just themselves wherever they are. Yeah. Other people, it takes some time to sort of like. It's like speaking multiple languages. You have to like think about, okay, what does this mean? Translate it in your head and then speak again. Same thing with code switching. Yeah. Okay, let me just
Take a
try to
moment.
take a moment to be myself, to remember to be myself. And the more you do it, the better you
Yes.
become at it, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think if you trust yourself,
Yeah.
as long as you have good intentions, as
Mhm.
long as you're not, you don't want to hurt anybody, you're just becoming yourself. And I think it really takes a lot of pressures on your mental health,
Yeah.
because you realize how because this is what I've realized: when you're code switching, or when you're being somebody else or something else, it's not natural, it's forced. So usually people pick on that, pick up on that, on that behavior, and then they, sometimes sometimes people may not be around you, they may see that you're not being authentic to them, when you're actually not being authentic to yourself.
Yeah.
And then it really affects your social interactions as well, and your confidence, and so you show that even though you don't know that you're showing it. So being yourself, it's really helpful for your
Yes.
mental health.
I agree. Have you all ever had to create any personas, code switch in your environment to fit in? If you have, if you feel like it,
You're
share
not
these
alone.
stories down below.
Yeah.
Write in the comments. Yes. Yeah, raise your hand. Get a little emoji.
We can
Yes,
all
I have.
work
Yes.
together to overcome these things.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And make sure to like the video, subscribe, hit us up on the socials.
Yes.
Subscribe, right? Subscribe.
Yes, it's Umuco love everywhere. Umuco podcast. You can also remember Umuco means culture.
Yes.
You can go on we have a nonprofit. You can be part of our community. You can donate there to help spread more good.
The
in the
URL
world.
is right here. Yeah. Go there, support us, donate if you
Yes.
want to, but just learn what we got to say. We talking about culture, we talking about embracing one another. In these times, in these trying
Yeah.
times, we definitely need to be reminded of this more often than not.
Oh yeah, we definitely do.
Yeah.
All right, beautiful people. We'll see you next week. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned.
With Umuco podcast.
Yeah.
With Alex and Dydine here on YouTube channel. Subscribe.